What's going YouTube? Welcome back for part 2 of What If I Was Reincarnated into Naruto. If you enjoy the video, leave a like and comment what you liked. And with that, let's get into the video. Chapter 11. Team Minato's Mission Briefing. A few days after their training session, Minato and his team received a summons to the Hokage's office for a crucial mission. Kakashi was assigned to lead a mission to destroy the Kanobi Bridge, while Minato himself was tasked with engaging the Stone Village army on the front lines, a battle that had pushed the Leaf Village to the brink of defeat. As the departure time neared, a small crowd gathered at the village gates, among them Team Minato. Kushina and I were there to see them off. Amid heartfelt farewells and some stern words from Kushina, who warned Obito against recklessness, Minato posed the question, "Are you ready?" In unison, his team responded, "Yes, sensei." Turning towards us, Minato added, "Kushina, Kaido, see you soon." Kushina chimed in, "Take care and give it your all, everyone." Kakashi and Rin nodded in response, while Obito seemed less interested. Kushina then turned her attention to Obito. "And you, Obito?" Obito raised an eyebrow, his face showing irritation. "What's it now?" With a serious expression, Kushina continued, "You can be clumsy, rash, a bit of a bumbler, and let's not forget, a knucklehead. So, be extra cautious out there, because if you come back hurt, you won't just get my fist. Got that?" Obito lowered his head, but a wry grin crept onto his face. "Who do you think I am, anyway? I'm going to become Hokage, Lord Obito Uchiha, so don't worry, there's nothing to be concerned about. I'll ensure the mission's success and bring everyone back without a scratch. That's a promise," he declared confidently. Kushina smiled in response. "You better keep that promise," she said, and they both shared a laugh as we watched. I turned to Minato and embraced him tightly. "Please, be careful. I don't know why, but please, just be careful, okay?" Minato returned the hug and reassured me with a smile, saying, "Don't worry, we'll be fine." After a few more exchanged words, they embarked on their mission. Kushina and I stood there in silence, watching them disappear into the horizon. "I hope they'll be alright," I said to Kushina. "They'll be fine. They're strong, you know," Kushina replied with a reassuring smile. Over the past few days, I had subtly hinted at my concern to both Minato and Kushina about the mission. I was fully aware that this moment marked the turning point when Obito would be recruited by Madara and Zetsu, a pivotal event in the Naruto timeline. Preventing this occurrence could potentially change the course of many future events, including the Ninetales attack. A few days after departing from the village hidden in the leaves, Team Minato found themselves at the border of the Land of Fire and the Land of Grass. During the journey, Minato explained the situation to the team. "As of today, Kakashi has become a Jonin like me," said Minato. "We'll split into 2 units led by Kakashi and myself in order to give us the best chance of success. We are suffering from the biggest lack of manpower the Hidden Leaf Village has ever seen. Remember," explained Minato. "Kakashi will be the captain of a 3-man squad, with you and Rin, Obito." "Actually, Obito, remember our talk about giving Kakashi a present?" Rin asked Obito. "Sorry, I wasn't listening," said Obito with a scowl. "This is my gift, a custom-made kune knife just like the one I carry. It's sort of heavy and odd-shaped, but once you get accustomed to it, it's easy to use," Minato added. Rin then handed Kakashi her gift, saying, "And this is from me. Here, I made a personalized med kit for you, Kakashi. I adjusted things a little to make it easier to use." "Yeah, thanks," replied Kakashi, then looked at Obito with an expectant expression. "What about you, Obito?" asked Rin. "Embarrassed," Obito replied. "If you were expecting a gift from me, you can forget it." "Well, I wasn't expecting anything from you anyway. It probably would have just been a piece of junk. Useless crap like that would just be excess baggage," Kakashi said. "Kakashi, you just wait until my Sharingan awakens," said Obito, clearly offended by Kakashi's remark. "Oh, come on, don't start fighting," pleaded Rin. Seeing things getting out of hand, Minato intervened. "Alright, you 3, come here, I'll explain the mission." "We're getting close to the border now," said Minato as he laid a map on the ground. "It's this line here. According to intel, the Hidden Stone has deployed over 1,000 shinobi to the front lines. They've advanced considerably since the last time," noted Obito. "The Land of Fire shares borders with the Hidden Grass. We should have stepped in long ago," surmised Kakashi. If the hidden stone is able to invade like this, it must mean they have an efficient system for reinforcement, commented Rin. Hence, our mission is here, Canopy Bridge. To crush one's enemy at the battlefront requires an immense number of ninja, so ninja like us who focus on sabotage missions are forced to work in small, select teams, said Minato. The bridge, you say? So our mission is infiltration, said Kakashi. Right, Team Kakashi, your mission is to infiltrate the enemy's backline, then blow up the bridge they're using for supplies before withdrawing. Meanwhile, I'll head for the front lines to hold off the army, said Minato. So, we'll go together towards the border, but once we're there, we'll split up and begin our mission, he added, looking at his team and thinking, hope everything goes well. I'll have to finish up at the front lines fast and head back to assist them. Apostrophe. Chapter 12, to the front lines. After a much-needed rest, Minato and his team were on the move again, headed towards the shared border with the hidden grass. This mission marked Kakashi's first time as a team leader, and Minato saw it as an opportunity for him to gain valuable experience. Kakashi took the lead, his senses sharp and alert. But it didn't take long for him to come to a halt, prompting Obito and Rin to stop and scan their surroundings as well. Nice, Kakashi, Minato thought to himself, his keen senses having detected the presence of an enemy ninja moments before. Perched atop a sturdy tree, a ninja from the hidden stone concealed himself, patiently waiting to ambush the Konoha shinobi. As he observed them closely, he couldn't help but acknowledge their skill. His gaze focused on Minato, and a flicker of recognition crossed his mind. Is that? No, it can't be. I'll keep a close watch, he decided, forming a series of hand signs with precision. Minato, his finger lightly touching the ground, extended his sensory perception, trying to gauge the number of enemy ninjas lurking in the vicinity. 1. No, wait. Stay on guard, everyone. There are 20 of them, Minato warned, his eyes scanning their surroundings. Although it's probably a shadow clone jutsu. Kakashi, eager to make his mark as the team captain, urged, I think you're right, sensei, I'll attack. Can you cover me? Minato, however, advised caution, don't rush, Kakashi, it might be wiser for you to support me. But Kakashi, fueled by ambition and a desire to prove himself, ignored Minato's counsel. He began weaving hand signs, infusing his palm with crackling lightning chakra. Sensei, today I'm the captain, and I want to test a new ninjutsu I've been working on, he declared with determination, naming his jutsu, Chidori. A chorus of 1,000 birds seemed to echo through the clearing as Kakashi completed the jutsu, his hand enveloped in a shroud of lightning chakra. Obito, bewildered by the spectacle, couldn't help but mutter, what kind of jutsu is that? His eyes were fixed on Kakashi. Rin, her gaze filled with awe, marveled at the incredible surge of chakra. Such power, she whispered. Here I go, Kakashi declared, ready to charge towards the enemy. However, Minato intervened, swiftly placing his hand in front of Kakashi, preventing him from advancing. No matter how many they are, with this jutsu, I can deal with them in a flash. Reminiscent of your nickname, Sensei. Besides, you said it yourself, I'm the captain today, and our rules dictate that the team must follow their captain's orders, Kakashi asserted, a hint of arrogance in his tone. Recognizing that some lessons needed to be learned the hard way, Minato reluctantly allowed Kakashi to proceed. Discover more. Story collaboration platform. Fandom-specific notebooks. Online writing community. Books and literature. Author promotion services. Creative writing software. With Chidori at his disposal, Kakashi made his move, charging headlong at the enemy in a straight line. The Iwa shinobi, taken aback by Kakashi's direct approach, swiftly unleashed a barrage of kyunae towards him. Minato, quick to react, intercepted the projectiles with well-aimed shurikens, protecting Kakashi from harm. Your kyunae attacks just helped me pinpoint your location. Here I come, Kakashi thought confidently as he continued his advance toward the Iwa ninja. Minato, seizing the opportunity, threw another shuriken to divert the enemy's attention, allowing Kakashi to strike. But to their surprise, the enemy ninja exploded in a puff of smoke. Damn it, a shadow clone, on to the next one, Kakashi exclaimed as he pivoted towards the next adversary. Meanwhile, Obito and Rin found themselves ambushed by a shadow clone emerging from the ground, but Minato swiftly dispatched it using his kyunae. Stay vigilant, he cautioned. Kakashi, meanwhile, systematically dismantled the remaining shadow clones, counting them off one by one. 18 down. Don't get cocky, brat, shouted the Iwa shinobi as he advanced, slashing his katana at Kakashi. Kakashi, unable to evade in time, faced the deadly blade. It was poised to cleave him in two when Minato materialized out of thin air, saving Kakashi's life. Though Kakashi escaped the worst, a minor cut marred his arm as he retreated. Minato positioned Kakashi safely on the ground beside his teammates. A short distance away, the Iwa shinobi gasped for breath, his thoughts racing. I could barely hold my own against that kid, but that yellow-haired guy's movements. I've marked him, Minato mused as he removed his backpack, letting it drop to the ground. Before the bag even touched the earth, Minato materialized behind the Iwa shinobi, a kunai pressed against his throat. Sensei's teleportation technique, it's unbelievably fast, Rin thought in astonishment. And no way, are you the yellow flash of the leaf? The Iwa shinobi asked in terror. Those of us from the land of Earth have been taught by our commanders to run when we see you. I finally understand what they meant. With those words, Minato ended the Iwa shinobi's life. Rejoining his team, Rin focused on healing Kakashi's wound. Your wound is healing well, Kakashi, but don't push yourself too hard or you'll reopen it, she cautioned as she carefully rebandaged him. Minato addressed the team. Kakashi's injury is significant. We'll retreat and regroup for the night. I'm fine, Kakashi protested, but Obito countered. No, you're not. You got into this mess by ignoring Sensei's warning and charging ahead. Kakashi's eyes flared with indignation. I don't need to take that from the Uchiha elite who was quaking in fear back there, he retorted, casting a disdainful look at Obito. Obito, caught off guard, defended himself, saying, I got some dust in my eye, that's why it was watering. Rin intervened, her voice pleading for peace. Please, both of you, stop. Minato's tone turned serious as he stepped in, putting an end to their bickering. Enough, both of you. Kakashi, rules and regulations are important, but they aren't everything. Didn't I teach you that? There are situations where you need to adapt on the fly and respond to the enemy's actions. He then turned to Obito, who seemed about to speak. Obito, you too, with goggles on, dust in your eyes isn't a plausible excuse. If you're advocating self-control, you should embody it as well. Returning his attention to Kakashi, he added, one more thing, Kakashi. I strongly advise against using that jutsu again. Your concentrated, high-speed attack is undeniably powerful, but it leaves you vulnerable to counterattacks. It's an imperfect jutsu, and I don't want to see you put your life on the line unnecessarily. Minato then addressed the entire team with a profound message. Remember, above all else, a shinobi's most critical asset is teamwork. Deciding to rest for the night in order for Kakashi to heal a bit more, later on, during Minato's watch, Obito learned from Minato about the tragic fate of Kakashi's father and why Kakashi was so hell-bent on rules. The next morning, Rin checked up on Kakashi and said, it's healing well, but don't overexert yourself, or you'll reopen the wound, while rebandaging Kakashi. The following morning brought a fresh start, with the team ready to resume their mission. Minato gathered them and announced their next course of action. From this point forward, we'll be splitting up. I wish you all the best of luck. The enemy we encountered yesterday was operating alone, but now we'll be facing teams. Stay vigilant. Obito, a hint of embarrassment in his voice, spoke up. Let's go, Captain. Minato, offering a warm smile, responded, indeed, let's go. Scatter. With that, Minato and Team Kakashi dispersed, each member sprinting in a different direction. As Minato dashed towards the front lines, a sense of unease gnawed at him. I must conclude matters quickly at the front and then rush to their aid. I hope everything unfolds smoothly, he pondered, increasing his speed as he neared the impending battle. Chapter 13. Exploring Funjutsu with Kushina. The days since Team Minato had embarked on their mission had been a whirlwind of anxiety for me. My hope rested on a subtle hint I had dropped, wishing that Minato would exercise utmost caution during the mission. I prayed fervently that he would arrive punctually to rescue Obito and thwart Madara's sinister plans to capture Obito. Despite my efforts to maintain a cheerful facade, my unease must have been evident to Kushina. She had taken it upon herself to keep me occupied with training and had finally consented to introduce me to the art of Funjutsu, something I had been pestering both Minato and her to teach me for quite some time. It was a typical morning after my rigorous training session under Kushina's watchful eye when she, with a teasing grin, proposed, "Say, Kato-kun, since you've been so diligent in your training lately, what do you say I start teaching you Funjutsu?" My face erupted with excitement upon hearing her words. "Really? You'll finally start teaching me Funjutsu?" I exclaimed with genuine enthusiasm. This was the moment I had eagerly awaited for years. In my previous life, information about Funjutsu had been scarce, except for the knowledge that the Uzumaki clan were its masters. The clan had been destroyed out of fear of their power. Funjutsu was known to be challenging to learn, yet its techniques were incredibly potent and versatile. Some of the most renowned jutsu in the shinobi world were Funjutsu-based, including the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Impure World Reincarnation, Byakugo no In, Shiki Fusion, and many more. The fact that I would be learning from one of the last Uzumaki Funjutsu masters was the icing on the cake. When she nodded in affirmation, I couldn't help but ask, "Can we start now?" Kushina couldn't hide her amusement at my eagerness. "Oh, someone's eager, I see," she chuckled. "We can start right after lunch." With that, she turned and strolled toward the house. After we returned home and had our lunch, I followed Kushina to her home office, which I had affectionately dubbed the Funjutsu room. This was where she spent most of her time when not taking care of me or when she left me in the care of a shadow clone. Since Kushina wasn't permitted to leave the village on missions, she worked on seals for the Hidden Leaf Village as the head of the Sealing Barrier Division. She gathered a few materials and then led me to the living room. "We'll start with your calligraphy. Until your calligraphy is up to scratch, I won't be teaching you any Funjutsu. Understand?" Kushina said with a stern expression on her face. And so began a long day of painstaking work as I labored to improve my calligraphy, discovering that Kushina could be quite the taskmaster when it came to teaching sealing techniques. It took 3 days of rigorous practice for Kushina to finally approve of my calligraphy skills as acceptable for diving into the art of sealing. During this time, I also gained valuable insights into the differences between Uzumaki-style Funjutsu and other Funjutsu from Kushina. In the show, it had been mentioned that Minato had learned the Uzumaki style from her, but now I had the opportunity to understand it more deeply. From what I could glean from Kushina's teachings, Funjutsu was akin to programming, with each village having its own unique style, much like different programming languages. The Uzumaki style was renowned as the most advanced form of Funjutsu, and this explained why Minato had been able to recreate the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. Few individuals, after Tobirama, had successfully mastered it, and other nations had failed to replicate it, despite having access to Minato's Kune. The secret lay in the fact that it was written in the Uzumaki style, a style that Tobirama had learned from Mito, and Minato had learned from Kushina. Without knowledge of this unique style, others couldn't decipher its secrets. Kushina's insights into the intricacies of Funjutsu fascinated me. It was clear that mastering this art would not only enhance my skills but also grant me a deeper understanding of the shinobi world's hidden mechanisms. With Kushina as my mentor, I felt privileged to embark on this journey of discovery. As our training progressed, Kushina introduced me to the fundamental principles of Funjutsu. She emphasized the importance of precision, patience, and concentration in mastering this complex art. Each seal was a carefully crafted arrangement of symbols, and the slightest error could have catastrophic consequences. Kushina recounted stories of disastrous Funjutsu mishaps, highlighting the gravity of the discipline we were delving into. One sunny afternoon, as I sat cross-legged in the living room, Kushina began to explain the basics of seal construction. She took out a scroll filled with intricate diagrams and symbols. "Funjutsu is not just about inscribing random symbols on a surface," she began, her eyes gleaming with knowledge. "It's a precise science that requires deep understanding and meticulous attention to detail." I watched intently as she unrolled the scroll and pointed to a complex seal formation. "This is a basic containment seal," she explained. "It's used to trap or seal objects, substances, or even chakra. The effectiveness of such a seal depends on the accuracy of its construction and the intent behind it." Kushina went on to demonstrate the process of creating a containment seal step by step. She emphasized the importance of maintaining a calm and focused mind during the process. "Your chakra control is crucial in Funjutsu," she said. "It's what empowers the seal and gives it its function. The energy you infuse into the symbols must be consistent and balanced." I observed as Kushina carefully applied her chakra to the seal, her movements deliberate and graceful. The symbol seemed to come to life under her touch, glowing faintly with a soft, ethereal light. It was a mesmerizing sight, and I couldn't help but feel a surge of admiration for her mastery of this art. After completing the demonstration, Kushina handed me a blank scroll and a set of specialized ink and brushes. Now it's your turn, she said, her tone encouraging. Start by drawing the basic shapes and symbols that make up the containment seal. Remember, precision is key. I took a deep breath and began to replicate the symbols I had seen in her demonstration. It was a challenging task, requiring utmost concentration and a steady hand. Each stroke had to be perfect, and I found myself erasing and redoing several times before I was satisfied with my work. Kushina watched patiently as I struggled, offering guidance and corrections when necessary. Funjutsu is an art that demands patience and practice, she reminded me. Don't be discouraged by initial setbacks. Mastery comes with time and dedication. As the hours passed, I continued to refine my skills under Kushina's guidance. I gradually. Chapter 14, Yellow Flash of the Hidden Leaf. Minato departed with his team and made his way towards the front lines, where the Hidden Leaf Shinobi were under attack by the Hidden Stone Shinobi army. He increased his pace so that he would be able to provide assistance to his team, who were tasked with destroying the Canopy Bridge. As he raced through the dense forest, he caught a glimpse of a massive earth release jutsu going off on the battlefield. The battle was in full swing. Minato reached the battlefield and quickly ascertained the dire situation. The Hidden Leaf Shinobi were under constant bombardment from a relentless barrage of earth release jutsu, forcing them into a defensive stance. The Hidden Stone Village was on the verge of victory, and only 4 Hidden Leaf Shinobi had survived the onslaught of attacks and were taking cover behind a trench, holding on for backup to arrive. Minato swiftly moved through the chaos of battle, skillfully avoiding the attacks aimed at him, and made his way to the trench where the surviving Hidden Leaf Shinobi had taken cover. Seeing Minato, one of the men said, "You finally came." Reaching them, Minato asked, "What is the situation?" "I'd say there are about 200 of the enemy. Compared to that, there are just 4 of us alive." Hearing that, Minato placed 2 fingers on the ground and used his keen senses to confirm the situation. There were approximately 200 foes, preparing for another large-scale attack. Sensing the urgency of the situation, Minato took off his backpack and unsealed some scrolls containing his marked kunai, handing them to the remaining Hidden Leaf Shinobi. He instructed them to throw the kunai towards the enemy all at once, saying, "Everyone, please direct these kunai towards the enemy all at once. I will take care of the rest." Saying that, Minato stood up and faced the direction of the enemy, forming a ram hand sign to gather his chakra. One of the Hidden Leaf Shinobi couldn't help but exclaim, "That's crazy, not even you could." But he was promptly silenced by the man who had given Minato the report. "Shut up and do as he says. We're about to witness the yellow flash of the Hidden Leaf in battle. It'll happen in a flash. Don't miss it." Humbled by the anticipation of witnessing Minato's legendary skills in action, the remaining Hidden Leaf Shinobi followed his orders. On the other side of the battlefield, the Hidden Stone Shinobi were all in high spirits, convinced that victory was within their grasp. They stood ready, awaiting their commander's order for their final attack that would give them the victory on this battlefield. "It'll all be over soon. We will attack at once." Hearing that, all of them nodded. As the Hidden Stone's commander was about to give the order, a massive barrage of kunai flew in from the other side of the battlefield. Seeing the incoming kunai, they easily avoided them, and one of the Hidden Stone Shinobi said arrogantly, "Ha, they think this can kill us? It must be their last desperate attack." This got a chorus of laughter from the other shinobi. But only their commander had noticed the different shape of the kunai and panicked. "And no, it can't be. Everyone retreat now," shouted the commander as the realization dawned on him. Hearing his panicked shout, the shinobi under him were confused, but before they could react, Minato took a deep breath and opened his eyes, saying calmly, "Here I go." With that, he disappeared from the side of the Hidden Leaf Shinobi. What followed suit was absolute carnage. One after another, the Hidden Stone Shinobi fell one after another, dropping lifeless to the ground. The attack was coming from everywhere and all at once. Witnessing their comrades falling like leaves, the remaining shinobi panicked and tried to flee from the battlefield. But it was to no avail as they were all cut down in a matter of seconds. The hidden leaf shinobi, observing from their vantage point, could only see flashes of yellow as it appeared and disappeared, leaving behind the dead bodies in its path. Just as it had started, it had finished. All the enemy shinobi were dealt with in a matter of seconds. The shinobi who questioned Minato's actions just a moment ago was stunned. So this is the prowess of the yellow flash of the leaf. As the massacre ended, Minato appeared where he had stood, in a crouching position, as he was breathing heavily. It's done. I had to use a considerable amount of chakra, he thought, sighing, in relief. I'll have to rest before I head out to assist Kakashi and the others. Seeing Minato, the surviving hidden leaf shinobi rushed towards him in joy, as they had won the battle. Minato met them with a smile on his face, happy that he was able to help his comrades and protect his village. He knew that the war was far from over, but this victory was a step. Chapter 15, The Good and the Bad News. News travels quickly in our village of Konoha. It has been several days since Team Minato departed on their perilous mission, and I've been a nervous wreck ever since they left. My hope rests heavily on Minato, praying that he made it in time to save Obito from falling into the clutches of Madara. Days seemed to drag on as I tried to keep myself occupied with intensive training, and it was during this time that my Ka-chan, Kushina, introduced me to art of Funjutsu, a skill that she believed came naturally to me due to my Uzumaki lineage. As the days passed, I spent my time refining my skills and learning more about Funjutsu, a subject that piqued my interest. Kushina was an excellent teacher, and her Uzumaki heritage seemed to have passed down some innate talent for this particular branch of jutsu. I delved deep into the intricate seals and patterns, finding solace in the complexity of it all. During one of those long days, we received a wave of news that rippled through the village like a tidal wave, news about the developments on the hidden stone front. The news was nothing short of astonishing. The report stated that Minato had single-handedly decimated the hidden stone forces and turned the tide of the battle, pulling Konoha back from the brink of defeat to a resounding victory. The news spread through the village like wildfire, and it seemed like everyone was celebrating, none more so than Kushina herself. She was not only relieved that Minato was safe but also intrigued by the possibilities that this victory might bring. The village was filled with an exuberant spirit in the days that followed. And rumors began to circulate around the village that the hidden stone had suffered devastating losses in the war against the hidden leaf and might be inclined to agree to a ceasefire. I couldn't help but recall that this event had transpired similarly in the original story, where the hidden stone eventually agreed to a ceasefire. But as they say, good news is often followed by bad news. A week later, Minato and his team returned to Konoha, and my Ka-chan and I were at the village gate, eagerly awaiting their arrival. We had received information about their return date, and as they came into view, my heart sank. Minato led the way, with Team Minato trailing behind, but there was a conspicuous absence among them, Obito. My heart clenched in my chest as I realized that things had unfolded just as they did in the original canon. Obito had been recruited by Madara and Zetsu. The somber expressions on their faces confirmed the heartbreaking reality. My Ka-chan, Kushina, upon seeing Obito's absence, burst into tears and rushed to comfort Minato. Later, Minato explained what had transpired during their mission. It was an eerie parallel to the original story, where Rin was kidnapped, and Obito had given his life to save Kakashi. Kakashi was consumed by guilt, blaming himself for the tragedy that had unfolded. Rin, too, was devastated, and it was heartbreaking to see her in such pain. However, it was Kakashi who seemed to bear the heaviest emotional burden. His demeanor had undergone a significant transformation. Previously, he had been known for his arrogance and his strict adherence to rules, but now, he was a changed man. He became more detached and wore an aura of sadness around him. Rin, on the other hand, struggled to come to terms with the loss of her best friend, but she would eventually find the strength to move forward. Despite the victory over the hidden stone, Konoha was far from being at peace. The village was still embroiled in a brutal conflict with the hidden cloud, hidden mist, and hidden sand villages. After only a few days of rest, Minato was dispatched to the front lines in the hidden cloud region, leaving a heavy sense of foreboding in his wake. For me, this turn of events held a grave significance. It meant that Obito would undoubtedly come after my Ka-chan, Kushina, on the day of Naruto's birth, seeking to capture the Nine Tails. I knew I had to take matters into my own hands and come up with a plan to alert Minato to the impending danger on the day of Naruto's birth. to prevent the death of my parents. I couldn't afford to lose them. The safety of my family and my village depended on it. To ensure that my plan was executed flawlessly, I needed to consider every detail and every contingency. The first step was to gather information about Obito's movements. I would have to be more observant, always keeping a watchful eye on any signs of his presence or activities in the village. I also remembered that he would visit the village frequently during Kushina's pregnancy and spy on Kakashi when he came to the village. Chapter 16. The Ongoing War. It had been several months since Obito had been recruited by Madara and Setsu. During this time, a multitude of significant events had unfolded. Firstly, the Third Great Shinobi War was gradually nearing its conclusion, and the toll it had taken on the various ninja villages was immense. Counting the losses suffered by each village, it was evident that this conflict had been brutal and devastating. Villages were left grappling with the aftermath of fierce battles, the loss of precious comrades, and the destruction of their homes and resources. The war had not only tested the mettle of the shinobi but had also left an indelible mark on the very landscape of the ninja world. The conflict with the Hidden Stone village had finally drawn to a close, with both sides agreeing to a ceasefire. However, the decision made by Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, not to demand reparations from the Hidden Stone had far-reaching consequences for his political standing. If memory serves correctly, this particular choice played a pivotal role in his eventual decision to step down from his position as Hokage. The fallout from this decision was twofold. On one hand, it was seen as an act of goodwill and an attempt to foster peace and reconciliation in the tumultuous times of the Third Great Shinobi War. On the other hand, there was a significant faction that criticized Hiruzen for what they saw as a missed opportunity to secure reparations for the heavy losses Konoha had suffered under his leadership during the war. This controversy surrounding Hiruzen's choices added to the mounting pressure he faced, ultimately contributing to his decision to relinquish the title of Hokage. The ongoing war with the Hidden Cloud Village continued to be a challenging endeavor for the Hidden Leaf Village. However, ever since Minato joined the Hidden Cloud Front, the situation had started to improve. His strategic acumen and formidable abilities had made it notably easier for the Hidden Leaf forces to contend with the Hidden Cloud Village. Rumors had begun to circulate regarding the demise of the Third Raikage, and they added a layer of intrigue to the ongoing conflict. According to these rumors, the Third Raikage had met his end in a heroic battle against a vast army of 10,000 shinobi from the Hidden Mist Village. Allegedly, he had held them at bay for an astonishing 3 days, allowing his team to retreat safely. However, I and many others are skeptical about the authenticity of these rumors. The notion that one could fend off 10,000 shinobi for 3 consecutive days was met with incredulity. It was argued that such a feat would place the Third Raikage on par with legendary figures like Madara and Hashirama. If that were the case, it stood to reason that he could have single-handedly turned the tide of the war by decimating entire armies, much like Minato had done with approximately 200 shinobi against Hidden Stone Village. As such, doubts persisted, with some believing that these rumors were merely a ploy by the Hidden Cloud Village to embellish the circumstances of their leader's demise and perhaps ease their ongoing hostilities. On the front of the Hidden Mist, the Hidden Leaf Village was also asserting its dominance, a triumph that followed the dramatic defeat of the 7 ninja swordsmen at the hands of Might Duai, who happened to be none other than Might Guy's father. The battlefield bore witness to an extraordinary showdown, where Might Duai valiantly clashed with and ultimately vanquished half the members of the formidable 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist. This astonishing feat was achieved through Might Duai's audacious decision to unleash the formidable power concealed within the 8th gate. An act undertaken with the sole purpose of buying precious time for his beloved son and their steadfast teammates, Genma Shiranu and Ebisu, who had been cornered and faced dire circumstances. Amidst these tumultuous events, Kakashi and Rin, who had been grappling with the profound sorrow stemming from the loss of their comrade Obito, were assigned to join the fray on the Hidden Mist front. It would be during this period, to the best of my recollection, that the fated abduction of Rin Nahara would unfold. This abduction would ultimately lead to her becoming a host for the Three Tails, her mind manipulated, and her life cruelly taken at the hand of the person she loved by jumping in front of an attack that Kakashi was about to use. This brutal sequence of events was orchestrated with precision by Setsu and Madara behind the scenes, all in the hopes that Obito awakens his main Gekkai Sharingan and embraces the vision of an ideal world through the fabled Mugen Tsukuyomi that Madara had proposed. The exact timing of these events remains shrouded in uncertainty, leaving me with only a vague notion of when they are slated to unfold. Chapter 17. Minato's Announcement. On a serene morning within the village hidden in the leaves, nestled a few kilometers away from the village center, a secluded training ground witnessed the presence of two figures. One was a youthful individual, distinguished by a cascade of vibrant red hair. Beside him stood a man with a striking shock of yellow hair, renowned as the legendary yellow flash of the hidden leaf. The young one, now lying on the ground, panted heavily. He was none other than Kaido Uzumaki, the son of the legendary shinobi. That's enough for today, Kaido, spoke Minato, his gaze fixed on his son who lay on his back struggling to catch his breath. Nah, I can still go on, asserted the determined youngster, mustering shaky resolve as he pushed himself up from the ground, meeting his father's gaze. Witnessing this, Minato let out a sigh, addressing his son with a tone of admonishment. You've been pushing yourself too hard these past few months, Kaido. Training rigorously is beneficial, but you must also allow your body the necessary rest. Hearing his father's words, Kaido couldn't help but release a sigh of his own. Since learning of Rin's tragic fate, he had immersed himself in relentless training, day in and day out. He sought to reach the pinnacle of his abilities, driven by the inevitability of Obito's impending attack on the night of Naruto's birth. He needed to fortify himself as much as possible before that fateful encounter. Yet, he grappled with the uncertainty of how to broach this impending threat with his father. I'm sorry, Tao-chan, I just wanted to be as strong as you, Kaido confessed, his words carrying a genuine desire to emulate his father's formidable strength. You are still young, there's no need to rush things, sighed Minato, his palm finding its way to Kaido's head, playfully ruffling his vibrant red hair. You'll have plenty of time to surpass me, you should enjoy your childhood while it lasts, he advised, a small, tender smile gracing his face. Let's head home, we shouldn't keep your mother waiting too long. With that, Minato and Kaido made their way back to the village. Along the path, many villagers greeted Minato with warm smiles and nods of respect. His renown had soared after the Kanobi Bridge mission, where he single-handedly secured victory for Konoha from a seemingly dire situation. Upon reaching their home and just as they were about to enter, an Anbu operative materialized in front of them, swiftly dropping to one knee. His voice was urgent as he conveyed, "The Hokage has requested your presence immediately in his office, Minato-san." "Thank you for delivering the message, I'll be there as soon as possible," Minato replied with a serious tone. As the Anbu operative departed, Minato turned to Kaido and instructed, "Tell your mother that the Hokage has requested my presence." With that, he too vanished in a swift flicker of movement. As he followed, Kaido explained, "Nah, he was summoned to the Hokage's office a few minutes ago. The Anbu said it was urgent." I hope it's nothing serious," Kushina mused as she turned to the stove, tending to the lunch preparations. Seeing her at work, Kaido offered, "Need some help, Ka-chan?" She smiled warmly and replied, "Well, you can help me by chopping the veggies, but wash your hands first." He returned the smile and said, "Hi." As the duo neared the completion of their cooking, Minato returned home after his meeting with the Hokage. He observed the warm interaction between mother and son, a fond smile gracing his lips. Sensing his presence, Kushina turned and greeted him, her voice tinged with playful curiosity. "Just what do you think you're doing over there?" she quipped, her smile never fading. "What did Lord Third want with you anyway?" she inquired, moving closer to him. "Well," Minato began, but was swiftly cut off by Kushina, who interjected with a teasing tone. "Hold on, did you get scolded for something? Ah, so what, don't worry about it, you know," she playfully teased. Placing a hand to his chin, Minato shook his head. "No, it wasn't that," he assured her, a hint of intrigue in his eyes. "Well, what was it?" asked Kushina, her face etched with confusion. Minato hesitated for a moment, then confessed, "Well, he wants me to become the fourth Hokage." He looked a little bashful, as if the weight of the responsibility was sinking in. Kushina, still processing the information, started to reply, "Well, don't you mind what he says, the Hokage is just." Her words trailed off as she suddenly comprehended Minato's revelation. Her face registered shock. "Wait, what did you say, Minato?" Minato nodded solemnly. "I've just been named the fourth Hokage," he confirmed. Kushina's shocked expression transformed into one of pure joy. She couldn't contain her excitement, and in a burst of elation, she jumped up to hug him tightly. Congratulations, she exclaimed, overflowing with happiness. Then, in a more serious tone, she added, thank you for all your hard work. Minato warmly thanked Kushina for her support. Kaido, upon hearing the news, came forward with a bright smile and said, congratulations, Tao-san, expressing his genuine happiness for his father's achievement. The three of them spent the day celebrating this momentous occasion together. In the days that followed, as Minato's official inauguration as the fourth Hokage approached, the entire village buzzed with an infectious excitement. News of Minato Namikaze's appointment spread rapidly, engulfing the village in a fervor of anticipation and pride. The prospect of a new era under Minato's leadership filled the hearts of the villagers with hope and optimism, their spirits uplifted by the promise of a brighter future. On the day of the grand inauguration, Kushina and Kaido found themselves standing on the rooftop of the Hokage building, surrounded by the village's leaders and department heads. They watched in solemn anticipation as Hiruzen, the outgoing Hokage, passed down the revered Hokage hat to Minato, the newly appointed fourth Hokage. I'm counting on you, fourth Hokage, Hiruzen conveyed with a serious and weighty gaze. Minato accepted the hat with a deep sense of commitment. I shall dedicate my life to it, he vowed. Turning away from the onlookers, he made his way to the edge of the building, where eager villagers had gathered. As he reached the edge, he paused, his hand gripping the hat, and then, with a flourish, he removed it, revealing his determined face. With great authority and pride, he declared, from this day forth, I, Minato Namikaze, am the fourth Hokage. The villagers erupted in joyous celebration, welcoming their new Hokage with cheers and jubilation that would resonate throughout the village for the rest of the day. Chapter 18, Spar. As the calendar turned to the middle of September, a palpable shift in the atmosphere signaled the imminent arrival of winter. The days grew shorter, and a subtle crispness settled in the air, hinting at the season's embrace. It had been a considerable stretch of time since the grand inauguration of the fourth Hokage, an event that had marked a significant milestone in the village's history. Currently bathed in the golden embrace of a warm, hidden leaf village exuded an air of lively tranquility. The sun cast its radiant glow upon the village's bustling inhabitants, who went about their daily routines, unbeknownst to them. Amidst the activity, two swift figures darted through the village, a streak of red leaping across rooftops and seamlessly transitioning from one tree to another. Close on its heels was a shadowy figure in black, the two racing towards the village's outskirts, their destination none other than the summits of the revered Hokage stone visages. The red streak through the village was none other than the spirited Kaido Uzumaki, his vibrant energy leaving a trail of excitement in its wake. Swiftly following in his wake was the shadowy figure of Itachi Uchiha, a testament to his own prowess and determination. They were both 4 years old and had grown a lot in the past year. Right now, they were having a friendly competition, to see who would reach the top of the Hokage monument first. And that's all for today folks, see you in the next video.